Okay, so this is Darlene Anderson. I just get so excited when I'm starting to tell just what we should be talking about and starting to share just what we should have an expectation on, and that is the same outcome as every other child has in the nation, as we are not special kind of people, and we all qualify for the same kind of resources. It is an issue when a state has determined how they provide services to you is different than all other children, as they have created a second class citizen issue, as willful defiance and children who have behaviors, as if we don't understand that public education is all about modifying one's behavior. And if you don't have something that you do systematically for everyone, then the thing that you do systematically for the children who look like me is a problem. And it's called a violation of my due process rights. And due process is everything. So is restrictive environment. And when you use the language that is aligned, that you should have the right to have a maintenance of service, a maintenance of effort when it comes down to talking about how well children who look like you are accessing public resources. Resources are critical. They're more than the resources. It's the data that demonstrates that all children have access. But confusing? Not really. Unacceptable? Definitely. I find it unacceptable when I realize that in 2021, African American people truly had no voice across this nation in the mandatory provisions as to how police enforcement works, as to how foundational services are offered, as to the early start option. But in a state like Nevada, and especially in the largest school district, the fifth largest school district, has to demonstrate what do they do for those children that they found under child find, or did they even find any children? And I can tell you probably it really doesn't matter, because when the children get in juvenile hall, CCSD is not providing any services to them. I don't understand the teaching curriculum or the offer of FAPE written within the Department of Justice as it's a different offer. It's a modified behavior. And we don't even understand the attempt to transition one to what, as there's no data that documents the effectiveness of the use of the money for the children who have a right to be served with those dollars. And so here we are in 2021, when people believe that maybe we can get involved in personnel issues. No, we can't. But what we can do, and what we have the ability to do, is to talk about the lack of services and the inability for the district to provide the information as to how well they're providing services for the children who look like us. It is it's criminalization. It's called supplanting, not supplementing. But the law is to supplement services where children are attending that lack skills. And the responsibility of the school site council is to discuss into the school year how things are working. And that is a responsibility of local control. So when you elect board members who represent you, the services and the data and the tools they allow you to operate within the local school district is to help support, is to provide support for the families who are in the school. But every ethnic group, basically, has a right to participate in the maintenance of effort, meaning have a conversation. And the principals should be meeting regularly with the community to talk about the services that they are exemplifying, practicing, whatever. But when you can't find the maintenance of effort for the people who look like you, and black people are committing crimes to a level that is unacceptable, and when black men would walk away and leave their baby in the car, in the hot car, when all the news has been on that issue right there, to go into the casino, and it was an African American man, and he was just probably just tripping. But we all have to learn how to be good parents. And if they truly have those 34 early Head Start centers, we can organize around presenting to the parents and getting the parents to choose what kind of training they'd like to have. Because in Head Start, you get to make that choice. But if we don't have a connection in which we can ensure that training happens for the local community, then the outreach is just myself, Maxine Pepper, Maria Huzar. I mean, they're just people that I've worked with over the years that truly understand the lack of maintenance when it comes to failed services. But when the state demonstrates, this is what we're doing for you people, and this is what they do, because all of the data demonstrates that your children are caught up in the harbor or in juvenile justice or just dropping out, foster youth, concerning. But the responsible party for the outcomes of public services is the public. Every person that have a child that is mandated to the public school system has a responsibility, just a personal responsibility, to ensure that access happens for those children. So the word is always e pluribus unum. Out of many there's one, but out of one there's none. It's unfortunate that people can't have a conversation in regards to the data without tying it to the people who are presenting the data. Or, I mean, there's a lot of hate stuff going on, petty shit. But black people who are there to support the children can't get together and come into a room and talk about what they know, or just refuse to invite the one. And you know what? People depend on your inability to come together and provide a conscious concern about what you see. Because we, as American people, cannot afford to continue to allow our children to fail. And it's unacceptable. So irregardless of who we are, if you're a taxpayer, then your obligation is to look at the children. And I couldn't believe that children were on a bus more than 2 hours to get to a program that was not a homeschool of theirs. And there is federal law under the Department of Transportation that says no more than 50 minutes. But if they're just doing these things routinely to African Americans, it's because they don't understand that they can't do these things. But they can do everything they want to do to you because you don't know that they can't. So if you don't object, hey, if you don't object, then the case is that it's solved. So when they come to consensus and consensus building as to how they spend the dollars that are not being generated by their children, but by yours, this is a legal process in which a state can choose to do this. But it is up to the people who are being affected by these public policies to send an objection. And if they are so competent in disregarding who you are as an individual, then you just need to reach higher. Reach higher. Because of the data that's around the harbor, well, I'm sure we can get some support from the Vice President, Kamala Harris, as she created a truancy program that was established in the state of California. And I'm just going to tell you that there is nothing like following the law. So the word is e pluribus unum. Out of many, there's one, but out of one, there will be none. So who will you be in 2021? Please like, subscribe, and share. And follow me on Anchor. I have lots of conversations there. Have a great evening.